4 days ago I read you a list of things Grinding Gear Games said they were going to fix. Today they shipped all of it. Every line. That is not how this usually goes, but 2 things happened on the way, and the second one is going to cost you experience. So this is the receipt, 329.1, line by line, against what GGG actually promised on the 27th. I'll show you where they went further than they said, the one promise that came back with a different word in it, the experience loss fix that nobody's talking about, and the 2 things that are still missing from these notes, then 4 things to do the next time you log in. Let's do the scorecard first because it's the whole story. On the 27th, GGG posted what we're working on. Some of it shipped that same evening, I covered that. 8 commitments were still outstanding as of 2 days ago. A new chest, Sunken Opulence promise for the next restart patch, significant Abyss iteration, a mercenary damage penalty that tapers in instead of applying flat, better attack damage mercenary scaling, more common infamous mercenaries, more support gems on mercenary skills, a new Atlas notable, and a review of what happens when your mercenary dies mid-map. All 8 are in today's notes, not 5 of 8, not the easy ones, all 8, including the one they only said they were reviewing. And Sunken Opulence brought a second chest with it, Sunken Gems, that was never announced at all. Now the line I'd look at twice. On the 27th, GGG wrote that they had adjusted the damage scaling of attack damage mercenaries so they are, quote, more effective in the end game. Here is that same change in today's notes. Adjusted the damage scaling of attack damage dealing hired mercenaries so they are relatively more effective compared to spellcaster mercenaries at lower levels. End game became lower levels. More effective became relatively more effective compared to spellcasters. That is a narrower change than the one that was announced. It might be a rewrite for accuracy rather than a walkback, and I'm not going to pretend I know which one it is. But if you re-rolled onto an attack mercenary because of that Monday post, that's the line to watch. Everything else on the mercenary side arrived with actual numbers, which is more than the announcement gave us. The damage penalty on permanent mercenaries now tapers in. There is no penalty at all before level 45. It reaches maximum at 83, so the entire campaign and your first maps are penalty free. Infamous mercenaries are 50% more common in tier 1 maps, scaling to roughly twice as common at tier 16. The new Atlas notable is called Contract Killers, and it gives allied mercenaries in your maps 100% more damage against mercenaries and rogue exiles. That is the catch-up mechanism. You use the weak mercenary you have to take a better one. Revived permanent mercenaries can now rejoin an area they retreated from when you re-enter it yourself, in maps only through a map device portal. And a mercenary now always spawns in the control blocks in Act 10, no matter how over-leveled you are. Abyss is the one I told you had been given nothing at all. That's changed, and it's mostly a fight change rather than a loot change. The Abyssal Depths Lich no longer has immunity phases where you go and kill Stygian spires in 3 side rooms. That was the complaint. In exchange, the Lich has 25% more life, to partially account for the fight being shorter. There's a new arena mechanic where crystal spires periodically fire beams toward each other, and after you kill it, there are now 3 chests of rewards. On the loot side, Abyss chests have less variance in how much they drop, and better quality and quantity, currency and scarab specifically. Greater Abyssal chests are now meaningfully better than their non-greater versions, which was the actual complaint. No hard numbers on any of the loot, so I can't tell you the multiplier, and I'm not going to estimate one. Now the line I'd bet most people scroll straight past. It's filed under fixes near the bottom. Quote, fixed a bug which caused the player to never lose experience on death in charts or voyages. Read that again. Since launch, dying inside a chart or a voyage has cost you nothing. Not a sliver of a bar, nothing. That's over as of this patch. You will now lose experience on death, scaled to the area level of the chart or voyage you died in. If you're level 90 something and you've been treating charts as the safe place to push, that habit just got expensive. There's nothing to do about it except know it before you load in. There's a second tier of changes that got no announcement at all, and one of them is bigger than most of the ones that did. Blessings from offerings to the deep altars now give a chance to convert common currency into rarer currency, not in Ruthless, and those blessings now apply to every player in the area, instead of just you, which quietly makes group play a lot better. You can now all flame craft with ancient orbs and orbs of chance. Dredge currency items work on strong boxes and essences now. The gold fee for buying charts on the trade market was, quote, greatly lowered, no number given. There's a new chart variant called the Eldritch Depths, a new Ducat Ukatoas, and a new Atlas anomaly called the Gambling District. GGG published no description for any of those 3, so we find out by playing. 4 fixes that land directly on your character sheet. 1. The unique item subtree on the Genesis tree had 2 fewer passive points than it was supposed to have. They come from the Strange Limb and the Foul Hand quest items. If you already turned those in, you get the points retroactively. Go and spend them. 2. Modifiers to cost efficiency were being applied after modifiers to total cost instead of before. If you built around cost reduction, your numbers are different today than they were yesterday. 3. Coursing current support can now support minions and their skills, which opens it to an entire archetype that was locked out of it. 4. Forbidden Flame and Forbidden Flesh jewels carrying the Inquisitor's Instruments of Justice or the Occultist's Unhallowed Rite were being silently converted into other notables when you changed area. That one's fixed. 2 things are not in these notes and both of them matter. First, the Abyss socket problem. Last week, GGG said that items with more Abyss sockets than their modifiers allow would be disabled if you already had them equipped, and that an upcoming restart patch would convert those extra sockets to white ones on login if they're empty. This is a restart patch. That conversion is not in the notes, so don't assume it happened. Open your character sheet and actually look. Second, the Draugr's Lantern, the unique they announced 2 days ago, isn't mentioned anywhere in this patch. It may already be live from an earlier deploy. The notes don't say either way. And one small confession buried in there. The chart modifier that reduced your maximum resistances never worked at all. It's been disabled and existing charts keep it. So, 4 things. 1. Check your gear for a disabled item before your next map and that one's still unresolved. 2. If you turned in the Strange Limb and the Foul Hand on this character, check the Genesis tree for 2 unspent points. 3. Stop treating charts as the free death zone because as of today they aren't. 4. If you're leveling a mercenary, the penalty has gone entirely below 45, so the campaign is the cheapest possible time to specialize. That's 329.1. 8 things promised, 8 things delivered in 4 days, and I'd rather say that out loud than only turn up when something's broken. If this saved you an experience bar, subscribe. I'm covering this league the whole way through. I'll see you in the next one.